welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Hi, always nice to see a new face. I talk about books and writing, and I know Nano has just begun as this goes up. However, it's still October where I am at the time of filming, so I am going to be talking about books, and in particular today I am going to be doing a little review of The Cinnamon Spice Inn by Harper. Now, this is the first book in the Maple Falls series, and it could very easily look like a bit of a carbon copy of the Dream Harbour series, and I kind of wanted to have a little chat about that, some comparisons, and then we're going to do the synopsis, then I'll do the likes, then I'll do the dislikes, wrap it up in a nice little bow. We all go on and have a lovely rest of our day, much like the last time I reviewed a cozy romance. So let's get first of all into the synopsis. So for the synopsis, Madison grew up in Maple Falls. She ended up going to New York for her career, and she's been living there for a few years. She's been back a few times, particularly when her mum passed away, and she's not really been back a lot though because she's kind of avoiding her ex. And I think there's still, you know, the sort of pain of going home because she does think of her mum and she does miss her a lot. And she gets this mysterious note one day saying, "The Cinnamon Spice Inn is in trouble and it needs your help. Come home. A friend." That is it. And she picks up her life and says, okay, for 3 weeks, I'm going to go home, fix things up, everything will be fine, jobs are good, and go back to New York and carry on living life. And it's not that simple. It's never that simple. She does end up back in orbit with her ex, who is the handyman around town. You know, everyone comes to him for all sorts of odd jobs, and he does some like bigger contracting stuff that never really comes up, but he is clearly capable of doing it, which is good because the inn really needs it. And it's the story of them getting back together. It's second chances. Say they broke up way before the events of the book. They tried to be a long distance couple for a bit. It didn't work out. I mean, you know, not surprising. I'm in a long distance relationship. It's hard. It's like having a Tamagotchi that eventually you actually get to see in real time once in every month or so. At least that's my experience right now, but hey. So anyway, it could read as a Dream Harbour clone very easily because they obviously do share some DNA. They are set at the same time of year. They are set in New England. They are both cozy romances. You know you're getting a happily ever after. You know everything's going to be okay in the end. But that said, they do share enough differences that I didn't feel like I was reading a Dream Harbour book with a different shade of lipstick. And I did really appreciate that. I know going into this I was a bit nervous that I was kind of going to get a bit of a Dream Harbour-like clone, which, you know, I like that series. But you still want something a bit different every now and again. I don't want to read these books written by someone else. I want to read those books written by Laurie Gilmore, and I want to read these books on their own merit. And I do believe from the first book, these do stand on their own merit. So that said, I'm not going to go too into the detail about that for now because that will come up in my likes and dislikes. So yeah, that said, let's do the likes. Number one, the stakes. Now this is kind of plot the stakes. So here's where the first real difference comes up, is that this book is absolutely about the Cinnamon Spice Inn. And it is about getting it back on track and getting it to where it needs to be. Because at the start of the book, they have one room rented out, and even that couple leave early. And, you know, they're then left with an empty inn that no one is taking bookings for. So the story is very much centred on getting it back on track, getting it together, you know, fixing the place up and making a successful business once again. It is a huge, huge part of this. And that is a big difference on, you know, any of the Dream Harbour series where, yes, they are named after the stores in Dream Harbour, but very little to do with the actual stores themselves for the most part, if at all. Except for one or two maybe, but really it is very little connected with that. Now that brings me on to the higher stakes that I mentioned. Now I read this on Kindle, so I know exactly where it happened because I read it this morning. You hit to like the end like 20%, and suddenly the stakes were ramped up in a way that absolutely threw the rug out from underneath me. I wasn't expecting it. And I really appreciated that, because the thing is, yeah, okay, I like the Dream Harbour books, but they no stakes at all. You know everything's okay, and you're not. There's no big, oh my god, we have to save the day. There was no major like, oh my god moment. Whereas in this, there was this sudden like, oh no, this is getting real. This is serious, and it was like, oh snap, did not see that coming. You know that they're going to manage to make it all work out in the end, but it was still that like shock that I wasn't expecting. And I don't know if this is going to go forward in the next two books that are already out, and I'm going to read them, but I wasn't expecting it, and I really appreciated that. I liked that, you know, you did kind of have the, okay, a business cannot continue if there is no one putting money into, you know, no one spending money on it, you know, it's you know, just chugging along. Eventually it's going to close down because you can't afford to stay open. And this does get mentioned about like, oh, maybe they should just sell it up, and you know, Madison doesn't want to sell up, which I found a bit weird because she still wants to go back to New York, so what would it really matter to her? It was a bit weird, but it works. And suddenly when the thought that it could all get taken away changed everything. So the raising stakes worked to give her a sense of urgency. Really enjoyable. Thought it was actually pretty well done, and I really wasn't expecting it, which was a nice touch as well. Now look, it's not going to be any like First Lord Joe Abercrombie level stakes. This is, you know, cozy little romance, but it was there, and I really appreciated it being put in. That it's something I feel the Dream Harbour books have absolutely lacked. I like, you know, I like them nonetheless, but I like that these had them. So yeah, that was a really nice touch for me. And number two, the characters. Again, I'm going to be drawing the comparison here. These characters felt a lot more real. They felt a lot more grounded in reality. Whereas obviously Dream Harbour, they are a very quirky bunch. And I like that. I find that really enjoyable. It fits with that world. It's a bit more funny. It's a bit more comedic. Whereas these characters felt less like that and a bit more... I could see things of people I know, and even myself, in those characters. Like Madison very much goes very insular when shit hits the fan and things get panicky, and, you know, she's got to make big choices. And when I was her age, you know, she's what, a mid-20s or so, maybe late 20s at a push. And I get it. I do the same thing, go very insular, shut everything out and just try and work out how to fix things. It's not a great way of dealing with things. I try not to do that anymore, but I still saw it and appreciated it. And I liked little things like that were a nice touch. It did just make them feel a bit more like they belonged in this world rather than this, like, you know, slightly more quirky, not fantasy world, but yeah, definitely just felt more real world with how people dealt with things and the way they interacted. It felt a bit less... The best word I can find is caricature, which feels like a bit of a disservice to Dream Harbour, but it is really the best word that I can use for the description. It felt less caricature and more real. And again, it was the key differences that made these books feel very different, and I appreciated that. So number three, and it's The Spice. I know I brought this up for the Dream Harbour series, but this is a new series by a different author, so I can bring it up again. I really enjoyed The Spice. Not a lot of it. You know, it was pretty light on spice. What was there was short but sweet. But it was, you know, no purple prose, and it was just nicely written. I could follow it. It fitted for the tone of the story. It fitted for the progression of the character development. It was nice. It was a nice touch. It was nicely done. Fitted in well. Would I have liked a bit more spice? Absolutely, I would. But I'll absolutely take it. I still enjoyed it for what it was. And yeah, so again, no purple prose is always a highlight, because if there'd have been purple prose in this, I'd have lobbed the book and called it a day, and my Kindle is not going to handle getting thrown. Anyway, now that said, on to the dislikes. Number one, the misunderstanding trope. Okay, now I did enjoy this book. I really did. However, using the misunderstanding trope once as their breakup before the start of the book. Fine, yeah, we all did it in our 20s. And then, having it again, and then having it kind of again. Like, these two need to learn to communicate, man. Like, I don't know what, get the puppets out, show me where on the doll that this idiot annoyed you now. Something like that, just talk, guys, talk. You don't have to keep misunderstanding. You could just have an open dialogue with each other. And thank God for Liam. I really like Liam. He's actually the viewpoint main character for the next book. So I'm actually hoping that he keeps his turning up and just going, how about you just talk to her? Oh, and don't give me that look, because I would absolutely tell her the same thing. Talk to you. I liked that someone was there going, you do realise that this all could be fixed if you two just communicate, yeah? So yeah, I didn't like it, but I liked how it was handled. And that said, I did say, she goes very insular, and I saw myself in that. So the going insular was one thing, but he could have, not, rather than take it as a miscommunication of she doesn't want me anymore, he could have just talked to her. Like, at any point, these two could have talked and things could have been settled a lot easier. And they do, and it doesn't get dragged out, but it was still there, and it got used a bit too much. Use something else. There are a billion other reasons you can have these two at loggerheads for any reason. It didn't have to be the same one over and over. Number 2. The info dumping. Now, this is where I actually think Dream Harbour is the superior book, in that when you're in Dream Harbour, you are getting hints of the world of Dream Harbour. It's little throwaway lines here and there. It is not, maybe a paragraph tops, but you're not getting half a page longer of just, story of this world of, oh, and this shop and this and all my history with this place and this little place in particular. And it's trying, I'm like, you have just stopped the plot dead in its tracks to tell me stuff that you could do in a line, or better still, show me. And at one point, there was a time where it was like, okay, you've told me all this, and now you're showing it to me. You could have cut this and gone straight to that, because this is interesting. This is showing me the world. This is making it feel lived in, not just someone reminiscing on, and this place doing this and all that. And I'm like, no, you're going off and doing it anyway. Just have this bit. Don't need to stop the plot in its tracks just to do this. I did feel like it happened a couple of times. I'm really hoping that is just something we're going to have early doors and not have is something that's going on like in the future novels. I do feel like it's something an editor should have picked up and said, like, dude, you do realise you're telling the same story twice, or you're stopping everything just to tell the story of the town, where if you're writing several books, you can add this information in later books. If it's not important to the story, just don't add it at all. It's fine. It's okay to do these things. And number 3, finally. Now, I know I said I like the characters. However, Zach, the main male character, did feel a little flat. And this is one of those things that could have been fixed with a throwaway line here or a throwaway line there that gave him a bit more depth, that gave him interest. Like, for example, me and my partner both like Games Workshop. We both like Warhammer. Now, he likes Horus Heresy, I like Age of Sigmar, so we have our differences, but we have this similarity that gives us something for our relationship. Whereas Zach, it's like, okay, he likes living in Maple Falls, he likes his farm, he has a beer down the pub with his mates, he likes helping out and he's good with his hands. And he likes Madison. And I need a bit more than that, give your man a hobby. I don't know, collecting fridge magnets would have been better than the nothing we got. Just something to give the character a little something, a little depth. And we get that in the Dream Harbour books that I did feel lacked here. Don't get me wrong, a nice body and good with his hands, I'll take it, at least until my kitchen has been refitted. But I want something more than that, and a relationship needs more than that. So yeah, that's my only gripe with the characters at all, was just a little line here or there, just to give Zach a little something more. That was all I wanted, and then I'd have had no problem with it. But yeah, that said, in conclusion, it's fun, it's fluffy, it's easy to read. You know, is it great literature? No. But it's not badly written. It's got its flaws. Every book does. But I still really enjoyed it, and I'd still recommend it. You know, if you have got a bit of a cozy autumnal romance shaped hole in your life, and you're still waiting for the next Dream Harbour book, which won't be out until May 2026, totally pick this one up and give it a crack, because you might actually like it. You know, I certainly did. I am going to read the next book. This one's set at Christmas. I've got the feeling that I'm going to be doing a run of Christmas romances through December for reviews, and I am fine with that. So yeah, anyway, have a wonderful rest of your day. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. You know, leave a comment if you are interested in these books, if you think you'd read them, if you have a preference. And maybe even give me a subscribe if you are feeling generous, because I am a new, very small channel, and all these things do help me to grow. And I will see you in the next video, where I will be chatting about NaNoWriMo. Take care, guys. Bye.